The concept of a custom Ninjago stop-motion series, separate from the show and helmed by a sole creator, is something that has existed since almost the dawn of the Ninjago TV show. In its first few years of existence, the medium gained steady traction until it exploded in popularity in 2015 with the introduction of both seasons 4 and 5 of the actual show. With the TV show and products alongside it at the current peak of their popularity, Ninjago stop-motion series quickly followed suit. Channels such as D. Tenaglia Studios, Cooper Ace Productions, and AL123 Productions quickly gained massive followings as a result of all this, and others were soon to follow. This explosive wave would be ridden until late 2017, when the first massive change in this budding community came about. The introduction of the Ninjago movie, and the redesigns of the beloved main cast from the show, put many of these large animators in a difficult position. Their already established worlds and characters had no way to fit into this overhaul of the franchise, and as a result, their viewership began to decline. While these massive creators still saw plenty of success, this change in the franchise made way for new creators to step into the spotlight. Micro Productions, Brick Filmer 125, and many others experienced an exponential amount of growth in the popularity of their series, utilizing these design changes to their advantage. While things still remained in a relatively positive position for these bigger creators, they had lots of new blood behind them, inspired by the works they had put out. With the introduction of the Ninjago movie in theaters worldwide, the community exploded in growth for a second time. Once again, this wave would be ridden for a couple more years until things would once again change drastically when the TV series had a soft reboot in late 2019. Alongside the soft reboot of the show, we saw D. Tenaglia Studios and NJL Productions end their long-time running series, two creators who had carried a large part of the genre for years. This was an unprecedented time in the community, and as a result, many drifted towards other creators who were starting to make a name for themselves. My channel, along with Brick Filmer 125, Micro Productions, the now absent Lego Man Sam, and a few others saw a massive spike in their popularity at the time. Things were clearly changing in a massive way, and yet, this wouldn't be the last time this happened. In late 2023, Ninjago was yet again met with a soft reboot. Even with the departure of Brick Filmer 125 and Lego Man Sam, many had still reaped great success from the prior Crystallized launch. However, this time, change was for the worse. So many high-quality creators had left the community, and with no one to fill their shoes, the art began to drastically decline in popularity. We had gotten to a point where there was only one or two consistent, high-quality animators left in the community, where in the past we were used to at least 5 or 10 options to choose from. All of these once successful creators had either vanished or halted consistent uploads almost entirely. To make matters worse, the concept of short-form content had completely changed the way YouTube and other social media platforms worked in this new era. With the rise of TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, most folks began to stray away from longer-form content. Many preferred the dopamine bursts of extremely short and digestible content over investing time into the overarching narrative that was often presented in these Ninjago series. And finally, a wildcard factor in the decline of this medium that I've seen no one discussing is the concept of simplicity. Ninjago stop motions used to be incredibly simple and easy to digest, with a streamlined narrative, bright lighting, one-liners, and lots of action. With the natural evolution that comes as a content creator, the stories featured have become vastly more complex, along with the presentation of the lighting and animation. From a creative standpoint, this is a huge win as it displays growth and maturity from the artist, but for the target audience, which is usually kids, it makes the medium more difficult to digest. So, where does this medium stand today? Unfortunately, it's in an incredibly dire position. The art of Ninjago stop-motion series has never been less popular than it is now. Before, most higher-ranking creators in this community could easily rack up hundreds of thousands of views, but in today's market, most are struggling to even piece together a couple thousand. However, I don't think it's quite time to call the art of Ninjago stop-motion series a dead one. Whatever happens over the next year or two will indefinitely decide if this was merely a dark age for it, or if it was the beginning of the end. What we need to see happen is for new people to step up with consistent, high-quality stop-motion series, and we need to see Dragons Rising experience the same kind of positive feedback and popularity that existed back in the day. As far as the actual TV show and products are concerned, I have a lot of faith that things are headed in a great direction. But as far as things over here on YouTube goes, I fear that attention has shifted away towards more fast-paced, short-form content. But that's just my opinion, and even with all of that, I feel I've barely scratched the surface of how deep this question goes. To help me explore this concept further, and perhaps arrive at a more positive answer, I asked a bunch of different Ninjago YouTubers to help me out. I gave each of them a prompt to answer, which reads as follows. It's no secret the Ninjago stop-motion community has vastly declined in the last decade. Custom Ninjago series like yours used to see sustained levels of success for many years. However, as time went on, the views and watch time you were used to getting drastically declined. In the past, we've seen others swoop in and attract a lot of these lost views, but in this field, there really aren't any titans of Ninjago stop motion like there used to be. What do you attribute this to? And with the decreased popularity in mind, do you feel that the concept of a Ninjago stop motion series is a dying one? Also, please keep in mind that a couple of the creators here are either newer to the scene or haven't made their own series but are very familiar with the genre, so their prompts will be just slightly different.
Hello, peoples of the internet, Brick Legacy Ninja here, and I'm on the set of Ninjago N-World today, where I was asked to give my thoughts on the current state of the Ninjago stop-motion community. And my opinions may be a bit different from the other creators in this video. I know some feel that the genre has had a decline in recent years, but I beg to differ. I've been able to find an audience with my Ninjago crossover series, and I think the different style of video has helped, with them being longer, one-off videos with a new concept. And I can't talk about my success without mentioning my amazing voice cast. Since Ninjago vs. Batman, these guys have given a new life to my content, and I've gone above and beyond to bring these characters to life in my videos, and I can't thank them enough for it. Along with Izzy, who co-wrote N-World with me. And with being close to these amazing people, I've seen firsthand that Ninjago stop motions are not dying. Their channels may be a bit smaller, but they are doing amazing work. And not just my voice cast. There are people out there making great content, and they are going to be the future of the community for years to come. So I don't think the community is dying. In fact, it's gotten a new life.
I don't necessarily think that Ninjago's stop-motion series as a concept is dying, but I do think it is something that kind of needs to evolve if it is to survive the future of YouTube, and it just kind of needs to evolve as YouTube changes as well. Obviously, YouTube has changed a lot since kind of the glory days of Ninjago stop-motions, and in order for them to survive, I think they simply just have to evolve with YouTube. Obviously, we're kind of now in an age of YouTube dominated by MrBeast and videos like that, and I think Ninjago's stop-motion series is just something that is fundamentally different to those types of videos. You know, they're not kind of fast-paced, high-energy things. They do kind of tell stories like people try and make them, like regular, episodes of a TV show. They kind of build mysteries and kind of have slow-paced beginnings, and in an age of YouTube where you really need to capture the audience in the first, 30 seconds of the video, that is kind of something that goes against Ninjago's stop-motion series, and it's simply something that has to evolve. And I think we're also kind of in an age where people are more likely to watch videos that tell a complete story in that video and then move on to another video that tells a complete story as well, rather than videos that kind of tell part of the story and then you have to wait for the next one to come out before you can actually, get a satisfying conclusion. And I think that's another area kind of where Ninjago stop motions just have to kind of evolve to, if they are to survive in the future.
I'm pretty sure that what happened to Ninjago stop motion series is that the kind of landscape of content creation in general changed to emphasize kind of frequency of uploads and, just a lot of really, really flashiness that wasn't possible at the rate that stop motion YouTubers were creating content. And I do think a lot of it came from just the perfect storm of kids who were the right age when Ninjago first came out, that when the golden age of Ninjago stop motion's 2015 through probably 2017, they came to the exact right age in that time period during that golden age, that they had that kind of disposable childhood money and a lack of jobs and other responsibilities. So it really was a perfect storm generationally of kids who were the right age when Ninjago came out, that they were the exact right age to start making videos and start posting on YouTube, which was also exactly in the right place to support those videos and promote them. So I don't think that can happen again. because it's like people aren't in the right place to be making those videos anymore. The generation that was first introduced to Ninjago is not there anymore. And that's not to say newer fans that have been introduced later are less dedicated or less passionate, but it's just not the same. Because when you look at it, also, the Lego movie came out around in 2014. So that kind of huge emphasis on stop motion and the popularity of Lego stop motion content was also paired with Ninjago's rise and these kids being the perfect age. It was just really a perfect storm that has passed.
Personally, I attribute kind of this lost audience to just kind of how the landscape of content creation is nowadays, especially with the introduction of, short form vertical 60-second media, especially after COVID. I think that was certainly something that changed kind of the landscape of what audiences were consuming, particularly regarding Ninjago. Nowadays, there's a lot of people posting live action off the cuff stuff, and I think that's what's mainly people are consuming and watching, simply because it's much easier to translate and much more high energy and much more translatable and relatable to short form contents, whether they be YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels or etc., and even TikTok. And I think the concept of a Ninjago stop motion series in general, I think it is a dying one, simply because, unfortunately, as much as people kind of remember what, we were making back in the day, I say back in the day, it's really only been, since like a year or so since I was done with my thing. But I think a lot of videos now, at least regarding Ninjago, are a lot more high energy, and I think the attention span of a lot of audiences nowadays might not have the bandwidth for, narrative Ninjago stop motion series, such as the ones that used to be so popular a couple years back. And I think especially audiences now are kind of just looking to, for a different type of video format, and generally just a different, formula to kind of get their fill of Ninjago content off of.
I'm honestly not so sure what killed Ninjago stop motion. It's weird because whenever we do have this kind of changing of the guard with YouTubers, like a lot of old Ninjago YouTubers, for example, like David and stuff, who don't really post anymore, you'd have newer YouTubers like Overlord X and Daily Rolord who would come in and do very similar content. When the old YouTubers eventually grew out or got bored of doing YouTube, they cycled out, and new people who wanted to make similar videos came up and kind of, I don't want to say took their place, but did kind of fill the same role. When it comes to Ninjago stop motion though, that next generation weirdly kind of just never came. We definitely do have modern stop motion channels. One I can immediately think of off the top of my head is Brick Legacy Ninja. These videos are stupidly entertaining and I love watching them. But it's not the same as the traditional stop motion creator. The one who does occasional fight videos but mostly has their own series with episodes and labeled seasons. That type of YouTube video kind of just died out. AO123 still does them, and I know, Ethan, you've got your stop motion thing going, but generally speaking, it's kind of just not a thing anymore. I think what largely did it was TikTok. And I know pointing and blaming TikTok for all of the internet's problems is like the thing to do because it's the boogeyman to people for whatever reason. But I do genuinely feel that being able to compress fight scenes into these short, infinitely rewatchable 30-second videos really did kind of diminish stop motion for a lot of people. Like, obviously, a lot of these stop-motion seasons have their own stories, themes, and messaging. I'm not gonna deny that, because these stop-motion series, I think, were awesome. But there is a huge chunk of the people watching these videos who just watched them for the fight scene, for more, like, ninja action. So when they have that condensed into these 30-second videos that are being produced en masse, I feel like it does kind of reduce it a bit. I don't think it helps that Ninjago has generally gotten less popular as the years have went on. That's not to say the show itself has gotten worse, even though in aspects I think it has. But if you just look at, like, the viewership for Ninjago on TV, you'll see a downward trend somewhere around, like, 2018-19. I think it largely corresponds with LEGO slowly giving up on marketing the Ninjago brand. I mean, a lot of people don't even know it continued after Season 2. So I want to say that maybe contributed to the fall of Ninjago stop-motion series. But even then, I'm not entirely sure, because, like, it's not like these stop-motion series were appealing to a general audience. These were appealing to, like, devout Ninjago fans. And yes, Ninjago's internet presence has definitely shrunk since 2015. I don't think it would shrink so much to the point where these types of videos would just stop getting views. Ultimately, I have no idea what killed Ninjago stop-motion, dude. It's such a weird case.
In today's era, there's definitely been a shift in demand from audiences The newest form of Ninjago content that audiences are invested in is these long-form videos with bright colors and fast-paced editing, like, I made cursed Lego dinosaurs, or I built all of these Lego sets in a few hours. Most of them are inspired by what Mr. Beast does, except with Lego sets. Ninjago is no different. It's less likely for audiences to care about an entire series these days when they can easily receive something quick and satisfying, such as shorts or Mr. Beast levels of editing. The reason a lot of stop motion series were popular was because the TV show was popular. A lot of people got invested in the lore and characters, wondering what would happen next. When there weren't episodes airing, this gave content creators an opportunity to create their own version of the show with as much creative freedom as possible. They were successful because they gave fans something to look forward to and kept them speculating on how the storyline would go, especially if it would correlate with what season the show was on. There was a lot of competition in this space since everyone wanted to try their own take on Ninjago and see what would happen. I did this too after being inspired. But over time, a lot of YouTubers like Detangler Studios ended their storylines, or others like Kubrace Productions would continue but with declining viewership. Even some YouTubers would take long breaks with their series that went on for too long before finally returning. The fact that a lot of content creators, including myself, took breaks with their series at a time when the relevance was fading definitely accelerated its downfall. Eventually, people mostly lost interest. I also attribute the fact that a lot of the audience for the Ninjago stop motion series have grown up and moved on. Sometimes when people get older, they may not care as much about what they are invested in due to desiring something more mature, getting busy with responsibilities in life, or the content feels too boring and has fallen off since its prime. Would I say the Ninjago stop motion series concept is a dying one? Unfortunately, yes. It's definitely lost its relevance as a genre for content creation, kind of like how nobody really talks about prank videos or Minecraft parodies as much as they used to back then. It's also much harder to get into since you have to spend a lot of time coming up with a storyline, not to mention expensive. Just recently, I've seen a few stop motion YouTubers pivot more to Blender animation like Garden of Bricks or Edbound. It doesn't require a lot of Lego sets and is very cost effective for the videos being done. For someone that is new to making a Ninjago series, the only way to have it be as relevant and successful as what's been done in the past would be to either keep up with what's trending with the actual franchise currently, or something that really stands out with the main characters we know and love. But it's not going to be as easy to get large audiences invested. Stop motion will still be around since there is a market for practical video making, but the idea of series is just not as sustainable as it used to be. It's way too expensive with a lot of effort in maintaining a consistent storyline and high risk when it comes to gaining a large audience that will be invested. But hey, maybe it's possible to do a series on Skibbity Toilet. That seems to have a future. Don't worry, I'm joking. Please don't actually make a Skibbity Toilet series. That wouldn't be very Sigma Ohio Riz.
Hello, I'm SPI Studios. I've been doing Ninjago stop motion videos for over 5 years, but actually started to find more success in my videos in the past couple of years. While the YouTube landscape is changing, I see this as an opportunity for new kinds of Ninjago stop motion. There hasn't been a better time than now to learn about how YouTube works, and I think this can really help with how you put together a stop motion video. For example, is this video relevant? Is a good question to ask. Is this something that people will click on and are interested in? These are some important questions to think about when making a video or developing a series. Put effort into it and really work hard on it, then people that are interested in that type of video are going to appreciate the effort and the work that you put into that video. So seek to improve with every video that you make. There also needs to be some flexibility, but stick to an idea and have some consistency. It's also important to upload consistently. This could be every week, every 2 weeks, or even every month, but have a pattern so people know that they can keep coming back to your channel and keep finding videos. It's about building trust, building relationships with your audience. I'll give the example of my Ruler of the Sea series, a Ninjago stop motion series set after the events of Seabound and before Crystallized, and I started releasing it around the time of Crystallized Part 1. It was initially marketed as a Seabound series based off the thumbnails using Seabound suits, and that didn't do as well, and so I pushed more towards marketing it it as crystallized, which is more like what it is, and really packaged it that way so it was relevant. While also staying true to the story, I didn't change the story too much to try to be relevant. Think about like, okay, what is relevant? What are people interested in? And how can I promote that to those people? Have a good story that has a message or a moral to it, a point to it, not just some story that can get views, but like, what is the story that needs to be told here? What is some way that I can impact people? What is a positive message that I can bring to other people who might be struggling, might be going through a hard time, and they want some escapism. They want to just watch YouTube. Okay, well, how can I impact their lives with this story, with this video, and just putting the effort into it? And I think if you do that, then people are going to watch those videos. So I'm SPI of SPI Studios, and thank you for the opportunity, Ethan, and I look forward to hearing from you and the other creators.
I want to quickly extend a huge thanks to all of the creators who participated in this video. Getting all of these different opinions on the current state of this medium has really broadened my perspective on the matter, and hopefully it did for yours too. I think the best verdict I can come to after all of this is that the medium is clearly on a downward trend, and is going to need some sort of drastic change in order for it to survive. The concept of a custom Ninjago stop-motion series is one that means a lot to me personally, which is why I've stuck with making my own for so long, and why I will continue to always give support to those who engage in this form of content creation. Now, I extend this topic to you, the viewers. Do you think Ninjago stop-motion series are headed for irrelevance, or are they already there? How can this medium gain popularity once again? Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to get a good discussion going down there. Thank you to those of you that made it to the end and watched this video in its entirety. It's one that's been in the works for a good while now, and I'm so happy to finally have it out there, because this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. Only the future can dictate where things go from here. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.